Hi, I'm Dr. Water. I'm a doctor, the kind who keeps working adults healthy, occupational, and preventive medicine. Watching hero stories, I always snag on the same spot. When do these people rest? Out on the streets, called the moment something happens, rushing in at any hour, back on the scene before the wounds have closed. It's a dream job, no argument. But through the lens of workplace health management, it's a fairly worrying way to work. So today, not to put any one series on trial, but to ask, if a human actually worked this way, what would happen to body and mind? I'll check it against real occupational medicine. The short version up front. A hero, if the job existed for real, is a workplace an occupational physician would absolutely put on the inspection round. I'm not here to judge the series. I'm here to ask, if a human body and mind did this, what would really happen? And back every medical claim with a paper. An occupational physician's actual job is to walk the floor and find hazards. Today I'm walking one fictional workplace. You get stronger the more you work. The body isn't saying that. In these stories, heroes fight in streaks. One incident isn't wrapped before the next starts. There may be scenes of rest, but nothing that reads like managed working hours. In short, chronic long hours plus on-call standby, normalized. A workplace, if you translate it. Put that into a real body, and the first thing out is cardiovascular and cerebrovascular risk. Working 55 hours a week or more carries about 1.3 times the risk of stroke compared with a standard 35, 40-hour week, shown in a meta-analysis of over 600,000 people. The same work found ischemic heart disease risk up about 1.1 times, and, importantly, the longer the hours, the higher the risk, step by step, a dose-response relationship. So it isn't, the more you work, the stronger you get. It's the more you work, the more debt piles up in your blood vessels. That's the body side of the story. Takeaway: longer work makes you stronger is a weight training line. Blood vessels do the opposite. As hours stretch, stroke and heart disease risk stack up step by step. A load you can push through on spirit, and a load the body quietly banks are different things. You collapse because you lack grit. No, the numbers point at the workplace. This is the part one most want to say as an occupational physician. Long hours aren't a story of gritless people falling over. Looked at across a population, people are actually dying. It's a public health risk. A joint estimate by the WHO and ILO, International Labor Organization, put it that in 2016, about 745,000 people worldwide died of stroke or ischemic heart disease attributable to long working hours, 55+ hours/week. And that figure is up about 29% versus 2000. So long hours aren't a just be careful yourself personal problem. They're an occupational health problem where the design of the workplace itself is on the line. If hero society had a labor standards authority, the first thing to tackle wouldn't be individual heroes' willpower. It'd be rules for deployment and rest. Having strong individuals and having a safe workplace are two different things. Takeaway: if you're exhausted, it may not be your personality or your grit. Long hours are a public health risk that accrues deaths at the population level, and the primary responsibility for fixing it sits with workplace design, not your spirit. Suspect the hours before you suspect your own weakness. Strong people don't break mentally. Let me deny this one straight-faced. It isn't only the body. A hero's work means repeatedly standing in high-stress scenes, disaster, accident, violence. The real-world parallel is emergency responders, ambulance crews, firefighters, rescue teams. This isn't a place for a joke, so I'll write it head-on. In a systematic review of ambulance personnel, estimated prevalence was about 11% for PTSD, 15% for depression, 15% for anxiety, and 27% for general psychological distress, higher than the general population. A worldwide meta-regression of rescue workers likewise estimated current PTSD prevalence around 10%, with repeated exposure to traumatic events as a risk factor. For firefighters, between-study variation is large, but the mental health load of emergency response work is observed consistently as a feature of the occupation. Strong people tend to say, "I'm fine," but repeatedly standing in traumatic scenes is itself an independent health risk. That's not weakness. It's a matter of exposure dose, which is exactly why real fire and ambulance services are building critical incident stress care, debriefing, counseling lines. If hero society had occupational health machinery, post-scene mental care should be as standard as checking your gear. That's my read. Takeaway: mental wear down is a matter of exposure, not weakness. The more your job puts you in hard scenes over and over, the more that reaching a counseling line or a professional, rather than gutting it out, is necessary kit, like inspecting your equipment. If you're in emergency response work or anything near it, take this one personally. They're young, so upside covers it. The statistics say the reverse. One of the big draws of hero stories is young protagonists training while stepping onto the real battlefield. As a story, it's rousing. Through occupational health eyes, though, this is where I get most careful. U.S. official statistics show workers aged 15 to 24 have an emergency department visit rate for work injuries about 2.3 times that of workers aged 25 to 44, Garin et al., CDC/NIOSH, MMWR 2020. The cited reasons: less experience, training, and hazard awareness, plus being in a position where it's hard to speak up about safety concerns. The new person can't say it. This is not that young people are inferior. It's that if you put young workers on the front line, the workplace bears a heavier duty to train, supervise, and protect them. Real labor law restricts hazardous work for minors and young workers for exactly this reason. That stories show training and mentors is, to an occupational physician, actually sound design. The one problem to avoid: don't let enthusiasm paper over the gaps. Takeaway: youth is the flip side of inexperience, and young workers' injury risk is statistically higher, not lower. Younger staff are also the ones who find it hardest to say, "This is dangerous," so thickening the protection is the workplace's job. If you're the new person, don't hold back safety worries. That's not whining. It's correct safety behavior. I won't knock the dream of being a hero at all. Rushing to people in trouble is genuinely noble, in real life too. But the one thing I can say as an occupational physician is this: preparing strong individuals and preparing a safe workplace are two different jobs. Long hours hit the vessels. Repeated crucibles hit the mind. The young need more cover. None of that is unique to heroes. It holds, unchanged, in your workplace too. So today's takeaway is one line: don't make people fill the gap with grit. If what's short is hands, or rest, or training, what fills it isn't individual spirit. It's the design of the workplace. Manga can be a doorway into thinking about how we work. And real workplaces have far more room to protect people than you'd guess. See you at the next checkup. Thanks for watching. I'm Dr. Water. Subscribe for the next body check, and I'll see you at the next appointment.